My work actually takes me all over the world. I work in California, I work in many states in the United States, but I also work in Canada, places in Europe, and I've been doing a lot of work in the UK. Well, one of the things we're going to be doing in the UK is helping staff understand about trauma and what it means to work in a trauma-informed environment, which may sound rather lofty, but one of the things that staff find is that this makes their job easier. That when they have an understanding of how trauma manifests, what it looks like in the women that they're working with, it helps them begin to work differently, and it helps them work in a way that it makes their job easier. The becoming trauma-informed is really two prongs. One is for the environment and the staff. What can the criminal justice system do to change their business as usual and to operate in a way that is going to be less harmful to the women and easier for the staff? So that's one piece of the work. Then the other piece of the work is helping staff be able to run a program with women who've had trauma and help the women develop some coping skills and have a better understanding of their own life history. The other thing that's helpful for staff is that many of them have the same histories, but they've never had a place to look at what the impact might also be on them. So it's really twofold. Well, there are going to be a couple of pieces. One, I'm going to have an opportunity to talk to some of the leaders and the policymakers about what this means to be trauma-informed and have them begin to think about some of their policies that are in place that need to be changed. Then I'll also have an opportunity to talk to staff. And when I'm talking to staff, we'll be talking about the 5 core elements to becoming trauma-informed. And the 5 core elements are about safety, trustworthiness, choice, collaboration, and empowerment, and how they can begin to incorporate those 5 basic elements in their work with women. How I will start with the staff is by telling them that we have a few hours together, that I'm going to be sharing some very simple concepts and ideas that I can guarantee will make their job simpler if they'd be willing to try it. And I'm going to suggest to them they try things for about a month, and I'm going to give them an email address where they can let me know if it worked or not. For the one-day training in the prisons, in the morning we're going to be talking about the concepts of becoming trauma-informed and some skill building about working with the women in terms of communication and de-escalation, and having the staff also understand the impact of trauma on themselves. Because when you work in an environment like a prison, you can get what we call vicarious trauma, vicarious PTSD. But in the afternoon we'll shift a little bit and we'll be talking about a specific therapeutic intervention that can be used with women. And again, they'll be learning a different skill set, and this will be the things that particular staff that run groups might run a group like this for women, but helping the staff understand what they could also be teaching the women, not just learning for themselves. When we look at the women in the criminal justice system, and can be women in any country, they have a very common profile. They're very often disadvantaged women. They're women who've had little education. They're women who, many of them have a lot of physical and sexual abuse in their lives, and many of them are substance abusers. One of the things when we look at our prison system, it was designed for men. And now we find that many, many women have come into a system without anyone even thinking about women's issues. Women respond differently to how they're managed in a prison. Women come with different issues. And many women are in prison, but they were not the primary person in the crime. Many women come to prison because of relationships. There are many women who are doing some man's time for him, for example. So we really need to think differently about women in prison. When we think about women in the criminal justice system, and particularly those that are mothers, many of them come out of these systems in worse shape than they went in. For those that are mothers, their children are impacted by their incarceration. They're separated from their mothers. Very often children of incarcerated parents have more mental health problems, have more difficulty in school, they feel a lot of shame. Sometimes they don't even know where their mother is. Families tell them, they make up stories about where they went because they're so ashamed of it. So we do want the women back in the communities with their children. We want to keep families intact. There are way too many women in custody. There are too many women in the UK. There are too many women in the United States. Every country that I've been to, the people who are looking at the prison system are concerned about the number of women that have come into their prison system. When we think about the future, I think we need to rethink both our custodial institutions. How should they be designed? What should they look like? What should they provide? And we should think about what we need to provide in the community. So to me, the future is based on keeping more people in the community and providing the services they need. And then there's a small number of people, men and women, who probably need to be in a more confined area because they're a danger to the rest of the community. And with those people, we need more understanding of what might help them.